Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today we're continuing our series on how to start a nation by discussing how to design your nation's flag. Aside from the name of your nation, the flag of your nation is likely to be one of the first things that people come across when they're trying to find out more about you. And so you want to make sure that you're given enough thought, time, and consideration as to what your flag is going to look like. Because ultimately, it is going to be a representation of you, of your community, and of your nation. And so this isn't something that you can just skip over quickly. You need to actually think about this in a very serious way, because there are no shortage of flags in the world, both state, regional, flags used by businesses, and even by nations, which are, objectively speaking, horrific. They're ugly, they're hideous, and there's, again, no shortage of those, and I will go into some examples of those later on in this video. And so you want to make the conscious effort to put something together that is objectively beautiful, attractive. You want it to be meaningful. You want it to be a good representation of who you are, and you want it to be easily replicated. And there are some rules in Vexillology, the study of flags, that you may wish to follow, and I will be delving into this in this particular video, because even though there's no formal written rules as to how you're supposed to put a flag together, it is advisable, I think, to pay attention to these very basic, fundamental, and informal guidelines and rules in order to establish a flag, in order to create a flag that people will be able to resonate with in a positive way. And so without further ado, let's get started. First and foremost, you want to make sure that your flag is kept as simple as possible. And you want to keep it simple because you want it to be both recognizable and easily replicated. A good rule of thumb is that if a child can draw your flag from memory, then you're on the right path. If they can't, your flag may be too complicated and you might want to consider simplifying it. As an aside, you may also want to consider how your flag might be applied to items such as badges, passports, or mugs. Leading on from that, you want to keep text and seals off of your flag. Not only does it look ugly, but it's also incredibly impractical. Whatever text is put on a flag, be it one that's overlapping on itself on an indoor flagpole or waving around in the breeze outside, it's going to be illegible. You want your flag's symbolism and colours to speak for themselves. You shouldn't have to literally spell it out for people. When it comes to colours, you should try to keep it to 2 or 3 standard colours that contrast well with one another. I've seen a lot of flags out there that use colours that are too bright, too dark, or don't contrast well with each other at all. You want to avoid this. As before, keep it simple and try not to overcomplicate things. Using the right colours is important. Think of the symbolism behind certain colours, especially in the nations and the regions that you are based, and use them in a way that reflects what your nation stands for. You want your flag to represent you, your community, your nation. So don't simply copy an existing flag and tweak it, because that's unlikely to be a true reflection of who you are. Many aspiring nations fall back on Nordic crosses despite having no links to Scandinavia, or Imperial German eagles because they think they look cool. But if these symbols and designs don't have anything to do with who you are or what you're trying to do, then it's just pointless. It is hard to create a truly unique flag, owing to the fact that there have been many thousands of flags throughout human history. But attempting to stand out from the crowd with a flag that won't be confused for another is something that you should certainly be aspiring for. When it comes to the flag of Stomaria, we went through many flag designs before choosing the one that people know today. We decided very early on to work on a 1:2 ratio, not least because it was one of the most common flag sizes in the world. The colours were always going to be blue and white, with the colour blue often being associated with freedom, loyalty, stability, and strength, while white being a colour that's often associated with peace, goodness, and simplicity. These colours also contrast each other wonderfully. And while we eventually chose the 8-pointed star of Stomaria, inspired by the 8-pointed star of Ishtar from the ancient Sumerians, the cradle of human civilization, we did also experiment with other designs, including a griffin, a symbol of loyalty. In terms of the style of the flag, we were originally going to have an all-blue flag with a white 8-pointed star, but this was easily lost in the ocean of blue. So instead, we decided to break up the flag into a triband so that the star would be more clearly defined, with the central band being equal in size to the two combined outer bands. The result is that the blue star of Stomaria sits on a white background that can form a perfect square or circle, which is ideal when trying to apply our emblem to badges, passport covers, and other items. We gave a lot of thought as to how our flag was put together, and it's for this reason that we've never had to change it. And I think that is the final point that I want to make. When you put your flag together, the reason that you have to think carefully about it is because you are establishing a brand, and you don't want to chop and change your brand in the public space. It is absolutely fine, obviously, to be able to play around with designs before you establish your nation, before you make yourself public. But once you've established yourself, once you've promoted yourself, once you have the flag in place, and you are displaying that in the public space, in the public domain, do not change it. Because if you change it, it becomes inconsistent. You lack the credibility, you lack stability, you lack consistency. And these are all fundamental, important factors when people are deciding whether or not to get involved within your nation. Is this nation going to chop and change every 5 minutes because it can't make up its mind as to what it stands for in terms of name, flag, government structure, or whatever else? Consistency is key to success. So while I hope you have enjoyed this video, if you wanted to become a part of the Stomarian community, then please feel free to do so through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.